K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk newest partnership and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Game on, where progressives fear us and rhinos tremble. Welcome to the political jungle. I'm JD.
This is Stacey. No one is safe. No one is spared.
Lock up the children.
And the old folk.
Welcome to the world of liberservative conservatarians.
That's right, political freaks, sexy geeks, and children of all ages. It's Tuesday night, Thursday, June 18th, 2015, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on K98 Talk. That means it's time for Game On with JD and Stacey. Everybody right now, get over to K98Talk.com. Get in that chat room. I know there's a lot of good people in there right now ready to get going. Tonight, we got a packed hour. We're going to be talking about the South Carolina shooting, but we are not going to say that jerk-off's name. We're going to be talking about the race hustlers like white on rice. Huh? See what I did there? TPA and TPA and the House and Senate leadership sold us out, along with the GOP selling us out, Carly Fiorina, and so much more. Check out Game On here Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Again, you can catch us live on K98 Talk every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Game On. And Sunday, Stacey and I switch hats for that third hour of radio on that Bloody Marys and broadsheets, baby. Your cure for that mainstream media hangover, 11 a.m. And as always, get over to Spreaker.com, get hashtag K98 Talk, find out the catalog of everything we've had going on here since we've come and gotten with the Ricky Ticky Tavi Rick Robinson. That man is the bomb diggity, is he not? Girly girl?
He is the bomb diggity. He's been really busy this week, and I feel like I'm suffering from a lack of Rick. So
Rick, let me tell you something. This is how cool Rick is. Rick is pissed. I thought the station folded today. I get this. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, what happened now?
We get this message from the owner of the station, and this is one of the most mild-mannered people you've ever met in your life. I mean, Ricky Ticky
nicest guy in the world.
Ricky Ticky Tavi, Rick Robinson, he's got two speeds, baby. He's got stop and reverse. I mean, he's just a very chill cat. And we got a message today, frantic. I go, oh, my, what now? I thought ISIS was marching down Pennsylvania Avenue. He was pissed over what happened in the house.
Yeah, he was actually confused because he's been working so hard, and then he forgot. I took him over to a text message and explained the whole thing to him. So,
did you get his heart rate down to a mild 150 beats?
Like calm. So, yeah,
you know,
we
folks,
got it taken care of.
We do. We got a lot to talk about, and we're going to start with the South Carolina shooting, and unfortunately, the buffoons that are going to follow this and try to gin it up so it becomes 1968 in the summer streets here. And I think the tenor of this whole show, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a hot, violent, nasty summer. I think everybody's got to get themselves ready for some. I mean, every major city in America, I think, and I don't want to be an alarmist here, but I don't think what happened last night augurs well for the next 30, 60, and 90 days. Do you?
I really don't. You know, as we've all seen in prior years, you know, certainly violent incidences in cities like Chicago and Baltimore go up during pretty terribly high. I guess what, you know, really struck me about this situation in Charleston, which is a tragedy. It is an outright tragedy. And we should never, ever, you know, try to take away from that by talking about the cultural implications of it. But it really went to that whole discussion we had with Guy Benson and what they talk about in the book, you know, the outrage machine. Instead of everybody taking a step back and really internalizing what a tragic and awful thing this actually was, immediately we start deciding to try to figure out what political party this guy might have belonged to.
Yeah.
Okay. People who go into churches and shoot people do not belong to political parties. They're outliers in society. There's a small percentage of society that does that.
Right, but unfortunately, the media listen. That's not the media's game, and before the media got as rabidly left and bad as it is, they were the kings of if it bleeds, it leads. But I want everybody to stop and think for a second about what 6 years of weak and divisive leadership can do to a nation. All right, I guarantee you, and good people all in the audience, I guarantee you right now that when that shooting happened yesterday, people who are politically aware or invested or whatever, I guarantee you people on the right said, good Christ, I don't care what happened. I hope it wasn't a white guy that did it. And I bet you that people on the left said, you want to know what? I don't care what happened. I hope it was a white guy that did this. And, there used to be a time...
They would have actually preferred it if it was a white retired cop.
Oh, no, they would have if it were a white active duty cop.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is a sickness that's really infecting the country, and it's given to us by Dr. Obola and a Stedman who finally left. And for an administration that finds out about everything that happens in the press, and who can take weeks, months, or never to respond about world issues, and how they say, oh, well, this is a local issue, that's a local issue. I mean, the Attorney General's spoken about this. The President of the United States has spoken about this. Now, it's a massacre, and it's a tragedy. But, I mean, they are purposely sending signals, are they not, to endorse. I mean, this is all about driving a base vote, and I hate to talk about this in political terms. I really do.
When they didn't talk was the murders in Oklahoma City.
Of course.
Nobody on the administration commented anything about those. Nobody commented on the law enforcement officer, the woman in, I believe it was New Mexico, who was killed the day before she was supposed to bring her premature baby home. Mm-hmm. President Obama never commented on the two cops that were shot in New York City. So, yes, I believe there's a definite theme. But the thing that made me really angry when the outrage machine ginned up this morning, if you look at the lifetime blogs of this incident, by midnight last night, local police were calling this a hate crime. By about 3 o'clock in the morning, the FBI was involved. We're talking within 24 hours. They knew who the guy was. They got him. He was booked and in jail. Okay, you got these hoople heads up in New York City who've had two murderers running around for how long now, JD?
We're in week 2, heading on week 3.
You've got these hoople heads up in New York who have the full force of the New York State Police, the local police, and the feds now at this point, chasing these two guys down who were last seen wearing orange, I believe. And these cops in North Carolina did everything right. They called it what it was. They pursued it vigorously. They did it vigorously. They did a fast and thorough investigation, and they're still getting piled on.
And this is when you speak about the outrage machine and you speak about how it's being portrayed, because if there is no honesty in the media, there really isn't, because for all the pushback that they want to give against law enforcement and the police, this was a textbook, by the book, we got a psycho, locked him up, didn't kill him, nobody got shot, off the street in a state where they're probably going to murk him,
and not only that, by 9 o'clock this morning, the DOJ is jumping up and down. We're going to come do a civil rights investigation. About what? I could understand if they would want to identify any hate groups this person was involved with, but by 7 o'clock tonight, they had looked on the lists of known hate groups and known hate group associates. He's not on them. He's a nut.
No, but you know what? It'll become about gun laws or the fact that his parents were a racist because this happened, and that by the default makes his community racist. But and I want to go back to what I was saying about how divisive this is becoming as a country. For people who follow me on social media and on Twitter and on Facebook, I do apologize. One of the reasons I have not been around that much, I've literally been working a business in several different time zones. And if you're listening, Obama, yes, I did build this, so suck it. But last night I had fallen asleep at one point, and I was working something in an Asian time zone. And I saw CNN hit my phone that there had been a shooting, and I said, you know what, I just can't. I can't. And it was something like 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, whenever it was, and I looked again because I purposely had checked out of the news. I said, I can't. And then I see it's a hate crime flash across the phone. This is an administration that took how many years to call Fort Hood a terrorist attack instead of a workplace violence incident? And I don't know, Stacey. And like I said, this is a political show, so we're going to talk about it in political terms and what it means. But this is not good. Let's go back to dealing with the time when we were all just Americans. This is about a minute long. This is Governor Nikki Haley speaking on the shooting. You're going to hear her speak in the beginning, and it's not the audio going out. There's a pause. She breaks up in discussing this shooting. I think it was this morning. And you want to know something? You want to know why? Because it's tragic, and she's an American. No hay being made out of this.
We woke up today and the heart and soul of South Carolina was broken. And so we have some grieving too. And we've got some pain we have to go through. Parents are having to explain to their kids how they can go to church and feel safe. And that's not something we ever thought we'd deal with. Having said that, we are a strong and faithful state. We love our state, we love our country, most importantly, we love each other. And I will tell you, there's a lot of prayer in this state. And so you are going to see all of us try and lift these 9 families up in prayer because they need us. These 9 families need us. The Emmanuel AME Church needs us. The AME Church family needs us. And the people of South Carolina need us to come together and be strong for what has happened.
Now, I want you to juxtapose that with what is heading down there right now. For those of you who have been Game On and JD and Stacey fans for a long time, you know our affectionate name for him, the chocolate Jesus of the race baiters, the Reverend Al, he ain't your pal.
The one that lit up Ferguson?
Lit up Ferguson? You want to know something? I'm glad you said lit up Ferguson, because I'm old enough to remember that this gem, peach, whatever you want to call this cocaine-dealing, skelly scumbag, is
tax evader?
You want to know what? That's a very charitable thing to call this whatever kind of Dick Gregory, Nutrisystem. He looks like a Mardi Gras. You know what he looks like? He looks like those old Italian puppets, like Punch and Judy now. He lost all that weight. He's got that big Mardi Gras float head. Anyway.
I actually thought he kind of looks like a cartoon cat, but that's what. But anyway.
So the chocolate Jesus of the race baiters is heading down there. It is not too long before the Reverend Jackson is on his.
Has anybody seen him since Ferguson?
What did I tell you? He is racial herpes, and somebody found Valtrex. Bye, Jesse.
Yeah, I haven't heard hide nor hair of him since Ferguson.
Oh, no, you want to know something? Again, this is because I've been so busy. He was just popping off about something in Chicago recently, this moron. I can't. He does not look well, though. He does not look well. There's that.
That's no.
But
I guess, so Reverend Al is going down there.
Were you going to call him Al Jazeera?
No, I was going to call him Al Jackson because I just got really confused. But anyway.
No. That's Freddie Jackson. I wish I had the song.
I got it. But can I just tell you that you just heard Governor Nikki Haley make what was a very emotional speech. You can hear tears in her voice. Do you know what the liberal press has been doing to her all day?
Oh, I can just imagine.
Because she talked about the emotional challenges, right, of pain they're going to have to work through. They're saying her comments weren't harsh enough and they weren't decisive enough. So
She should
you've got
tell everybody.
HuffPo and Salon and, Daily Cost drooling all over themselves, basically calling out Nikki Haley as part of the racial conspiracy.
Listen to me. They're not drooling on themselves. They're sitting there in a circle, just sitting at hackery after hackery, lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. I mean, when you speak about the outrage machine, when you take a look at some of the most vile things spewed in media are spewed by Talking Points memo and Daily Kos. Okay, you can find TPM and Kos points lifted daily in mainstream, in Good Morning America, and anything else that's being put across the broadcast networks. This is what they want. These people believe that this is an awful. Okay. This goes back to Rachel Dolezal,
Who Whoopi Goldberg defended today. Never mind.
You just made my point. You just made my point. You just made my point, okay? The NAACP, okay, which stands for We Are Just Progressives Stealing Your Money and Trading on the Race Industry. That's what it's Greek for. The fact that
I thought it was Japanese. Anyway.
Well, don't get me started. They now I got Godzilla and Mothra in my head. Are you happy?
Very.
They where was I going with this? What was I just?
You were talking about the NAACP.
Okay. So the NAACP, which if you look at it, basically acts no different than any other big progressive organization or institution. All right. The NAACP stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Okay. This crazy white broad from the middle of God knows where, all right, watched House Party 2 a few too many times, took some acid, and lost her marbles, all right? It happens. It's a big country. There's 330 million people here. The NAACP backed her up. Let me ask you a question. What if James O'Keefe had gotten somebody into the NAACP that way? Do you think they would have been so accommodating?
Well, not only cover your ears, JD, is she now transracial, she's also bisexual. So she's really trying to co-opt just about every, weird social group out there that we have to be politically correct about. So if you stop and think about the juxtaposition of what has happened this week. So you have Rachel Dolezal, crazy white woman who decides she's going to pass for black and head the Seattle chapter of the NAACP. You have the Black Lives Matter movement. And so in support of all of that, you have people coming out and saying race is a social construct. It's not real. We all share the same genetics, who are pandering to this whole idea of you can identify as a black person now. I identify as a dolphin. I just want everyone to know that. So, when you see water shoot out of the back of my head, that's why. But
listen, Flipper.
If you stop and think about that narrative, and then you look at what went on today with D. Ray McKesson, that lovely little piece of garbage, and the entire Black Lives Matter movement, so is funded by George Soros money, and their narrative that basically we weren't hard enough on this suspect. So there was this entire meme that went out where people cut things out of pictures and said that this young man who committed this crime, when they caught him, was not handcuffed and he was wearing a bulletproof vest. So apparently if it's a white shooter that goes into a black church, the cops should make it more of a lynching. But God forbid, when a cop has to confront a violent subject who happens to be African American and something bad happens, then the cops are the bad people. So the cops in Baltimore are in all kinds of trouble for not providing for the safety of the young man that died there, Freddie Gray. But we should have taken a bulletproof vest off this kid, even though it's standard procedure, because I guess it's okay if a white guy dies in police custody. It's just insanity.
It's complete insanity. Let me ask you a question there, co-host and partner in crime. You willing to take a little? Are you willing to take a little incoming?
I don't really know how to take that.
Well, let's see how much trouble. Right before we go to break.
Yeah.
You know what? with all the serious stuff we talk about, if you can't have fun with it, go to hell. Hey, Talking Points memo, I hope you're listening. This is what got Dolezal to become a bisexual and say that she was black.
Hey, boys, look what I got here. Hey, where are the white women at?
Coming back on the other side with TPH, JD and Stacey at K98 Talk.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name like a long lost friend.
K98Talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
Welcome back with JD and Stacey here on K98 Talk. It's, what the hell's tonight? Thursday night at 9 p.m. coming into the bottom half of the hour, so it's time for Game On. We want to thank more than you can ever know that radio Red Nation Rising, who is our lead in here every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Home here at K98 Talk. Get over to K98Talk.com right now. Get in the chat room. I hear there's a lot of fun going on in there. And I was listening to the commercials during the break, Stacey, and she's a good friend of ours. I don't know if people know this, but Lou, the co-host on Red Nation Rising, I mean, she is just one of the smartest, forget women, she's one of the smartest people out there. But I was listening to that promo. Man, you should listen to the show just to listen to her voice. I mean, Jared, I love you. Jared, I love you, but you just, I mean,
I'm going to tell her you said that.
No, I hope she's listening. I hope she's, I mean, honestly, hold on. Do I have just the promo? I'll play it again.
No, that's okay, because if you play the promo, or no, you can't play the whole thing, because every time I hear that montage with Hillary and Barack, it like takes me a minute. My head starts to shake, and I lose it a little bit, so...
All right, so coming here to the bottom half of the hour, we have Robin Williams setting up our topic as always.
Seeing as how the VP is such a VIP, shouldn't we keep the PC on the QT? Because if it leaks to the VC, you can end up an MIA, and then we'd all be put on KP.
And now, isn't that about TPA, TPP, and then today joining Boehner and McConnell with a big capital WTF?
Pretty much. So we talked a little bit on Tuesday about the vote that was going to take place to divide those various pieces of legislation. So TPA, also known as Fast Track, which gives Obama expanded powers to get a trade deal through Congress. And TAA, which is the Trade Adjustment Act, which is going to provide benefits to all the people who lose their jobs because of that trade deal. And the customs legislation all got separated because they found some obscure House rule. So that vote took place today. We were not successful in stopping it in the House, and there will be repercussions for that.
Damn,
I'm sure. We have a couple of really interesting freshman reps, like Representative Hurd out of Texas and Representative McSally out of Arizona, who literally are first-term freshmen who have voted for full funding for DHS, voted for Boehner for Speaker. They voted for TPA the first time it went through, and they voted for the rule change today. So you've got freshman senators that were part of the red wave.
Losers.
That we put there to do a job, and they have let us down every single time. And there are groups watching them, and there will be repercussions. Unfortunately, I think the people we really need to canter are Paul Ryan and Steve Scalise. They're both just slimy. But so that did pass the House, and it today. Now, what was really interesting was watching McConnell make a complete boob of himself as he basically sat there and told us about the backroom deal that had occurred on C-SPAN.
Of course they're proud. Listen, look, we talk about this all the time, all right? To my mind, there were two major players who were doing the Lord's work in this, okay? That's Stephanie Scruggs. Oh, God, this week can't end soon enough. I'm sorry, Stephanie. Stephanie Scruggs at Coalition for a Strong America and the Louis Gohmert, baby. GOHconservativepac.com. You know, I mean, because everybody else is caught up in the Washington log roll in two-step. And this is what's so important. You speak about the red wave and people that, you know, what did I say to you tonight, Stacey? I try to cheat a little bit. I'm honest with the audience. I've been very busy. I said, hey, Stacey, I said, do you have a good guy, bad guy list you can send over to me so I can see what, you know, bobble-headed, lying, moronic jackasses flipped out and, you know, went counter to what they told everybody they do when they ran in 2014. And it really doesn't matter. Because until you change the leadership, it doesn't matter how many guys that you vote in that come in on a red wave or whether you want to call it a wave election or a Tea Party class or whatever you want to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So long as you have drunk stalk John Boehner and Magoo McConnell, these are guys who came in when Ronald Reagan was president. And let me tell you something, they're no Ronald Reagan. But if we don't... Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's not only that, but, you know, we all, I guess, know Senate. McConnell could not have been any more explicit about what just happened when he was doing his closing remarks today on the Senate floor. It's almost like he took a giant dead fish and said, whack, right in the face to every conservative in America.
It was a middle finger,
seriously.
not a dead fish.
Ugh.
Listen, you know what it was? You know what it was? This is what it was. It wasn't a dead fish. It was his crumpled up, crooked, old, 432-year-old Kentucky finger. The one that sits there when he's got one up his ass and the other in a glass of bourbon, this moron.
Oh, I thought Boehner was the drinker, but still. When you stop and think about it, there's actually even more at stake here from folks that we're talking to who are actually on the Hill and have been involved in this fight since day one. You know, this isn't just about TPA and TAA, which, oh, by the way, our Republican Congress is going to pass, and it levies a new fee on small businesses to pay for the benefit.
And specifically, it leads to what? TAA and TPP specifically is going to lead to, in the short term... TPP. Thank you. You know what I should have cut for this? I'm so stupid. I wish I had more time. We needed Michael Jackson's PYT.
No, we don't need any more letters than we've already got. Like, seriously. But when you take a look at it, what we're also hearing through GOP staffers that are on the Hill and really quite ticked themselves is that, not only is this involving TPA, which a lot of conservatives don't want, and TAA, which the Democrats do want and is now going to be funded on the back of small business owners within the United States. There's also something circulating around the highway bill and attaching XIM Bank to other legislation to get it through to pay back Nancy Pelosi for doing what she needed to do today in the House.
But think about how horrific that is. Think about the three things that you just spoke about. Infrastructure spending coming out of D.C., not at the local level. So that continues to let all of the blue progressive states leave unfunded pension liabilities and everything else, and they can let their roads and bridges crumble. And you want to know what? You don't learn when somebody says don't put your hand there. You learn when you put your hand there and get burned. And until D.C. figures out that it has to be left for the states, so the states can account for their own budget for a lot of the infrastructure. And yes, liberals, I know there's a difference between the federal highway system and the state highway system, you jackasses. I'm more talking about the bridges. But when you talk about highway infrastructure spending, and then you talk about XIM, I could sit here for 6 hours with my background and tell you why that needs to go the way of that. And then the what was the third one you said? It was XIM.
The TAA. Well, XIM would be in the highway bill will somehow be bound up together or in other legislation, and then TAA was originally supposed to be funded with Medicare cuts, and that people freaked out over that with good reason. So instead of that, they've now inserted language where there's actually going to be an increase in fees for small business owners who file tax forms late. So kind of like Obamacare. There's going to be fees attached to people to pay for the program.
That's what it was. The third thing was the small business tax, okay? I want you to think about this. Republicans control the House and the Senate. Republicans control the House and the Senate, and they are trying to levy more taxes on small business in order to pass more bad policy that cedes more congressional authority to the executive branch, and endorsing XIM and more infrastructure spending, which is all garbage. That's all crap. That goes back to the $1.8 billion for education spending that went to Baltimore, and they still did nothing. I mean, it's all graft and corruption.
Well,
Folks,
and I think what's interesting is I truly believe at this point John Boehner thinks he's invincible.
And the point that I'm making, look.
I'm sorry you cut out, so I apologize.
I know. It's okay. But you just put the steamroller in neutral for a second. The whole point that I'm making with this is everybody in the audience, think for a second. These policies in D.C. are coming out of the party that we are being told has been infected and taking over with conservatives and Tea Party nuts. And the Republican Party has become so conservative that they're endorsing highway spending, infrastructure cuts, ceding their authority to the executive, taxing small business, and what'd you say, increasing Medicaid spending? Medicaid?
No, that came off the table.
Oh, good. Good. So now just our kids, their kids, and their next 7 generations' kids are screwed. The 8th generation might get something if we're all not dead.
Well, I mean, just the whole schizophrenia, political schizophrenia in my mind, of John Boehner and Mitch McConnell doing every legislative and parliamentary trick they can possibly figure out to get Nancy Pelosi on board with them to pass Obama's agenda.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world? What?
You know what? You know why?
Why?
Because those two morons think this. Look, this is how they see everybody in the audience and every voter who's not in D.C. Listen, we gonna get these rules. They ain't got no idea about this TAA and what we gonna give to Obama. They just want to watch themselves some more Honey Boo Boo and the show with the midgets and all their kids and the 19 kids and who's touching what kids and all this. I mean, this is the respect you're being shown by people that you take time off from work for, you go to phone calls, you go to call centers for, you do mailings, you knock on doors, and this is what your leadership gets you. This is what your leadership gets you. Let me tell everybody out there, the GOP and the Republican Party does not anymore represent your interest. It is only a vessel to vote through for the best of what's out there. And somebody in this 2016 field better figure this out, because the GOP and its leadership in the House and the Senate are working against the voters, and you and I they're working against us harder than Nana and the progressives. You want to know why? Because those jackasses aren't in power. I mean, she must sit there and flick her bean over this and just think that this is the most ridiculous nonsense she's ever seen. Go, wait a minute. These idiots, after I lost my gavel, are now going to go do what I couldn't get done? You know what? Oh, yeah, great.
Okay, terrific.
Yeah, no, but it's not even just that when you take a look at the whole picture, right? When you look at the consequences for somebody like Justin Amash from the state of Michigan, and yes, I will admit he's my political crush. Sorry.
I thought you were over that.
Because I agree with 99% of what he says, and that's really rare.
So not on the first date.
Anyway, you look at somebody like Justin Amash, who voted his conscience, voted his principles, staunchly conservative, somewhat libertarianish, and didn't always fall in line with the Republican House leadership, even when they were in the minority. What happened to him in the last election? He got primaried by a Rhino candidate. Now, he defeated them soundly. He's very popular within his district.
Yeah.
But every member of the House of Representatives and the Freedom Caucus that is sticking their neck out right now can almost count on losing funding from the party's PAC during the next election cycle, getting a primary opponent, depending on how mouthy they are, or losing things like 3 people lost this week. They got kicked off the whip team because they voted their conscience,
and there's
not the way that they were supposed to vote.
There's more. I'm gonna see this. Why? All right. Let me flip this script. For maybe some good news. Is it possible that? All right. So I said this at the end of the show on Tuesday. This is basically the opening scene in Godfather 2. With Michael Corleone, on the day that his kid's getting christened, they assassinate the heads of the 5 families. He takes care of all old business on that day and settles all scores. So, like you said, there's been 3 whip position. What's been gone? What's been taken so far?
3 people were taken off the whip team.
Okay.
Because they voted against the rule that allowed TPA to even be voted on in the first place.
Let's go back to the Godfather theme then. All right? So 3 people. Well, we know there's 5 families. So there's more heads that are going to roll. But here's the question.
There were 6 people who hold gavels.
Maybe I cut
that
out
voted
again.
against it.
Maybe I cut out again. Hold on a second. In The Godfather, Michael Corleone whacks out all the heads of the 5 families because he's the most powerful cat. And they all bow and they say, yeah, you're the capo de tutti capi, and we're all going to follow you. You want to know why? Because if they didn't, he'd cut their heads off. The question is this a feint by Boehner and McConnell to try and seem tougher than they are? Is this the opening for a coup inside the leadership in the House and maybe the Senate?
Well, here's my perspective on it. No, I think they're playing dirty politics. I think they took a cue from Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi in the way they run their caucuses. Because if you think this doesn't happen on the Dem side, you're crazy. But they're not as rebellious as the conservatives on our side have been, I guess, when you think about towing the party line. But there will be repercussions for this continuously. There were, I think, 5 or 6 representatives that hold gavels that voted against the rule and voted against TPA. There's it that may not have a position in the whip or in the chairmanships, but they all run the risk, like Justin Amash, being primaried or losing central campaign funding. I mean, there are repercussions being exercised on people for not falling into line, and that is not what they're supposed to do. I want every single vote, whether they're in the whip committee or anywhere else a representative does, in their constituents. That's what they're supposed to do. And 3 people just got punished for doing that. That is outrageous to me.
Whip that vote. You know what we need? We need some Devo.
But I mean, the other thing, when you really take a look at the big picture, there are 2, in my mind, 2 important elections in 2016. There are 2 elections with truly national consequences. One of them is for the President of the United States, and the other one is in Ohio 8.
That's J.D. Winteregg, baby.
That is J.D. Winteregg. Until we get Boehner out of the House of Representatives, nothing is going to change.
You heard the nice lady. Sit there, decide whether you want to split those 9s. And J.D. and Stacey here on K98 Talk. I'll be back at Game On the other side talking a little Carly Fiorina.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets. If it's Sunday, it's Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
We're your cure from your weekly news hangover.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Welcome back, everybody, with JD and Stacey here with Game On K98 Talk. Everybody, right now, get over to K98. Get over to K98Talk.com right now. Get in the chat room. Get over there, talk to Stacey. Follow up what's going on. We're taking you here on K98 Talk into the top of the 10 p.m. hour. We want to thank Radio Red Nation Rising, who was our nice lead-in here at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a new home here on K98 Talk. And, of course, folks, when we're off the air, go right over to Spreaker.com. Get up hashtag K98 Talk. I've made it very easy for everybody. It says JD and Stacey, JD and Stacey, JD and Stacey, JD and Stacey. So anybody out there who's got a little, I don't know what to do, just go look at JD and Stacey. It's not that tough, right?
That's right. And Lou heard what you said. She was blushing.
That Lou over there with that sexy radio voice, baby. Yeah. She like that female Barry White. Yeah, baby, you know what I'm saying. Darling, all right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and speaking of another insanely smart and well-spoken woman,
does not have a sexy radio voice though.
No, I mean, but she has a very good speaking voice, and she has a very good style.
Way under the radar in my mind, her and Rick Perry are being slept on right now more than anybody else in the field.
Well, they're not getting a lot of big splashy mainstream media coverage, because how do you garner big mainstream media coverage when you got an idiot like Donald Trump running around saying I want Oprah Winfrey as my vice president?
I got to tell you something. I'm really rich, and Obama's a Muslim scumbag. I said it. Let me tell you something. If you're poor, you suck. But you should vote for me. You should. Wasn't that like the sum and substance of his announce yesterday?
The announce was more like, I'm rich, I know people, everybody's stupid, vote for me.
You watch this son of a bitch get elected.
It took him 45 minutes to say it, but that's pretty much what it boiled down to.
I honestly, through that whole thing, I was honestly going, and I am here to announce that I am opening a new Trump golf course in Del Boca Vistas. Hey, play an early round to get the primary.
He actually invited Obama to come play on one of his courses, but that's a totally different story. When you go out as a conservative, quote, please air quotes around the word conservative candidate, and then tell George Stephanopoulos that you want Oprah Winfrey to be your vice president, you really just killed it right there.
No, that's not how he said it. He went, Oprah'd be good. People love Oprah. People love me. I think if Oprah, then we get elected. We win. Jesus Christ.
Unfortunately, he could be right.
You know what? The both of us have to apologize to Carly Fiorina because we spent a couple of her minutes on this jackass.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Carly.
I'm getting all the jobs back from China and turning all the Chinese people into Americans. Yeah, great.
And I'm going to make Mexico pay for the wall.
I'm actually making Mexican the home of Chinese food just because I can.
I'm sorry.
Can we talk about Fiorina on Tuesday and just close the show out doing this with Trump? I had no intention of doing this.
No, but I feel bad because we covered Rick Perry's announce, so we haven't underplayed him. We never covered her announce, and Carly doesn't have a song.
I don't want to give her one. I don't want to give her. Look, we did the thing with Perry because my mind is warped and they did it deep in the heart of Texas. But I don't want to give her one, and I want to tell you why. I remember when she very quietly. I remember she was. I think it was on Fox. Like not too soon before her announced, they're like, "Well, what do you think?" And she's like, "Well, there's a 90-something% chance I'm going to run." And they said, "Do what now?" And then it was a quiet announce, and they slept on her. And we talked about some of this Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. From what I have seen so far, Carly Fiorina is far and away. Carly Fiorina is what I prayed Sarah Palin would be in 2012. When she ran and she had that buzz and she had that excitement, I wanted her to go and bury herself in policy. I wanted her to come back. And look, she has a place, and I'm not dinging on Sarah Palin. But what I'm saying is that Carly Fiorina is one of the most one of the greatest things that she has been selling as she's been going around is when they said, well, you're not a politician and you were a business person. And she's met with more world leaders, or as many as Obubu has, within her time in her career and what she's done. I mean, she had the Senate run out in California. She had folks. Go look at her time at HP before the Oppo research morons and the media get to paint her time there because they're going to go stock price and lost jobs. It is not – she had one of the most – and she's got an answer for this too. I mean, one of the things she says in her answers, Carly Fiorina is running as a math candidate. And she's answering the digs and the barbs that come at her with, hey, numbers don't lie. We quadrupled revenues, da-da-da-da-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. We went from last to first in all these market segments. You cannot – those are metrics you can verify. And nobody –
But they're so foreign to the political sphere.
Oh, you okay? Because
I mean, nobody looks at a candidate that way. I think they should, but you know what the sad fact is, and oh my God, I'm probably going to get killed for this. If Carly Fiorina is in the federal government, guess what? Some people in the federal government are probably going to lose their jobs because there's way too damn many of them.
Oh, good Lord, I hope so. Because she's you want to know something? I'll tell you what. It should be, if you want the business ticket, and Trump would go in a closet and take a Mossberg and shoot himself in the head before this ever happened. But if you want a business ticket, it's Fiorina Trump. Or, all right, let's.
Well, no, but I mean, when I have seen her speak as of late, and I think she's doing it smart. She's going around to very kind of low key, in some ways, almost infotainment kind of news shows, and she's making very good points in a very relatable way to audiences that aren't necessarily politicos.
Well, I'm sorry.
When I see her doing this, I'm actually very engaged by it, and I think it's a smart strategy.
She's uber engaging, and one of the things that people do not speak a lot about, that Senate race out in California, if I'm not mistaken, and I've been a little behind, but if I'm not mistaken, I got my history correct, that was north of $100 million plus Senate race, and I think she ran against Boxer in that one. I don't think she ran against Feinstein. I could be wrong. I thought she ran against Barbara Boxer, but that was $100 million. Yeah, right. It was $100 million plus Senate race out in California. Now, Carly Fiorina, this is another thing. I think her campaign gets it. I think this woman gets it. I think her advisors get it. So, what did Hillary Clinton come out with? Her net worth somewhere between $2 million and $11 zillion or some BS that you got to read between. Carly Fiorina came out down to the penny and said she's worth $58,436,917.83. It was absolutely brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. But she had, I want you to think about, like you said, you're impressed with her presentation. You're impressed with the ease of the way she speaks. You're impressed with the way that she is able to connect. Now, you're going to have her and Hillary Clinton, two phenomenally wealthy women running. And you want to know what? People just don't like Hillary. You want to know why? Because she's a miserable, fat-ankled, thieving, skelly hag, okay? That's exactly what
your mom's going to be really mad now.
You know what? That's not the only reason, but okay. but then you take Carly Fiorina. All right, go back to what I was saying about Trump on Tuesday night. One of the things about the Donald is that he transcends race and socioeconomic strata. You want to know why? White, black, purple, indifferent, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You see Trump go down the street, you go, oh, my God, I want to be just like the Donald. Why? Because I
really
want to be
bad hair.
Well, I want to be as rich as that guy. The thing with Carly Fiorina is she has to get out there and get her story out before her undecided numbers move and she can get painted negative the same way that Mitt Romney did. Because if Carly Fiorina gets her story out there, she's a hell of a lot more self-made than Donald Trump is. I've read The Art of the Deal.
Oh, yeah.
I read The Art of the Comeback. I read him when I was in my preteen years. I know the Donald story. Good for him. He's a great businessman. But she has a more compelling story. And if people want to be Donald Trump, man, if they could turn around and go, wait a minute, this broad was a secretary and the head of HP and a $100 million Senate race, $58 million, and now all over the world and sitting with this, and now she's running for president of the United States. And on top of it, I think she cares about me. I'd like to have a beer or a glass of wine with her, and she makes sense. One of the most underrated people in the field.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting there watching her on The View, which normally makes me want to, I don't know, poke myself in the eye with a fork.
Well, wait a second. I'm more awake tonight. That went right past me the other night. We're going to have to, post-show, we're going to have to address this because I don't know who the hell you are.
No, it was a link that somebody sent out that said, watch Carly kick it on The View. So that, basically kill it. So I wanted to see how she performed.
I thought you were watching it in the day room at the retirement home.
No. I never turn on the TV unless it's C-SPAN.
That's what I thought. That's what I said. I thought you'd given up on life and just not gotten out of your pajamas.
I'm a nerd. I have no life. So, but anyway, so I'm watching her, and of course, Whoopi Goldberg is a complete unapologetic leftist progressive. Blah, 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 blah. The other two young ladies on the panel are also rather left and progressive. They were asking her thoughtful, serious questions, and she was engaging them as they answered. You actually saw them leaning in and leaning forward and actually considering what she had to say just because of the way she presented it. I was like, wow, she's good.
They're a lot younger though. Does that augur well and speak to the fact that maybe it's an older generation that are caught up in this Clinton Bush left to right, and maybe even left or right, that there are just maybe a younger generation of people looking for a new generation of leaders? I mean, that would give me a little bit of hope in humanity tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've always talked about, Rand Paul being the different candidate in the race. I think I'm putting Carly Fiorina in that category too. Yeah, and I really hope the networks and the RNC figure out how to get all the candidates in the debate cycle, because if she does not make it, it will be a loss.
Oh, absolutely, 157,000% hib-dibbity, absolutely. You need somebody that sure. You want to know why? Because next to Rick, who's running? Next to, well, no, I'm trying to go through the list in my head. Next to Rick Perry, she's going to be the best equipped, or even more so than him, to talk about the economy and jobs. And I think that scares the hell out of the rest of the people. So let me ask a question. And again, I have to say the same thing ending the show that I said when I started the show. I apologize to everybody out there in social media land. I will be back very soon. And yes, Obama, I did build that. Suck it. All right, so who are the most important players of the week right now? It is Stephanie Scruggs at Coalition for a Strong America. In conjunction with her, you're going to want to very closely, for people on Twitter, you're going to want to watch Stacey's timeline at Scott's Fire, F-Y-R-E. They're doing a lot of very important work. Watch what they're hashtagging. Watch what they're doing. Social media really is, I don't care how lost this seems, the vote was postponed. If you don't keep fighting, it's not going to change. Go to GOHconservative.com. Go give that Louis Gohmert pack some money. Get rid of Boehner and McConnell. Lady girl, you got those keys?
Yes, and you forgot Red Nation Rising. Their TL is very important.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Let's get on up out of here.
Yeah. All right, lady. What's going on between now and Sunday? What are you doing to defeat the machine?
A whole lot of coordination. And please, guys, do not let the outrage machine turn Charleston into something bad. And when you see your friends doing it, stop them.
That's right, kids. And on top of keeping up with politics, remember, if you have a dream or you want to start a business and you think the world is just knocking over your door, it ain't. We'll see you Sunday, 11 a.m.
I'm looking for you, you Occupy freaks with your glitter bombs. Bring it on! Bring on the glitter. Everything has changed. Everything has changed in the last few years. Conservatives used to take it, and we're not taking it anymore.